Okay, folks, we're starting a new project. Here's the problem. This is my shed. This is all getting weed whacked down. Everything is being moved. There's all the rock that actually used to stop the creek from becoming a massive problem in my ass. Sorry if that bothers anybody, but this is where I'm at. We've got the creek now leaning more this way and eroding my land here. I am very close to my shed going off the side, and I'm pretty sure one more good rain like we had the last time and it's probably gonna erode enough that might happen. I've found that there is a ton of garbage, like pipes, all different kinds of pipes that are coming out. My husband's actually even found a garden hose sticking out that way. I'll have to show you that. But I now have to empty my shed and move the contents out so that I can move my shed to higher ground to make sure none of that happens. And of course, mosquitoes are everywhere. Yay. So I started working on this bed here, which is where my strawberry plants are, a good portion of them. I relocated my rhubarb. It's coming back. I'm happy with that. I made this pathway so I can redo the whole front and get all that garbage out of there and have a nice little walkway to go from my garden to the front of my house. My Jerusalem artichokes are almost 6 foot. No, I would say they're a little longer than 6 foot. Okay, maybe 6'5". They're almost about 6'5". So pretty soon I'm going to be getting flowers. I'm starting to see buds starting to form. I'm so excited. I look forward to this every year. But they are invasive as all get out, so I need to come in and do more maintenance. And this is purple asparagus. I have a ton of female plants, which people say you shouldn't have female plants. You should just root for the males because then you could get more. But honestly, I love them. I think they're beautiful. They're wispy. They're good when you get a chance to pick them. Next year will be my first year that I'll actually be able to pick any of them, harvest them, eat them. And of course, the mother of all weeds. If you know what that is, you know what I mean. But it's also a really good medicine plant, but I don't need the medicine, so it's got to go. Like, this whole area just has to get weeded and taken care of. We have the mother of all bees right here, still alive and gripping strong. Hello. Hi. Yes, hi. You're alive. Good to know. Good to know. And my catnip is still going strong. Once the flowers die back, I'll be cutting these out and drying the whole plant. And I have some borage down here growing, because once you plant borage, you'll never have to plant it again. See, this is borage. They're beautiful. There we go. There are a ton of bees all over this, if you can't tell. Like, there. Hello. And no, they don't attack you if you're super nice and you're the one that takes care of the garden. They come to know you, which is great. And yes, if you can't tell, my road is nicely opened. They're not done yet. I had people knocking on my door yesterday. They're going to access my property, and they're going to start putting rock into the creek to stop erosion on both sides, like my side of the creek and my neighbor's side of the creek, because I showed you the big hole that happened from the erosion. So that's great. Over here we have an entire bed of turnips that are rocking it, and then also wood sorrel. I don't eat wood sorrel, but if you do, it's a great plant, definitely. But I'm loving the fact that I have so much broccoli growing, or not broccoli, sorry, turnips. And lightning bugs love it. I have so many lightning bugs in my garden, and I'm super happy because that means that my ecosystem that I'm growing here is way healthy. I don't know how this happened, but I have a tomato plant growing here, and it's along with my other bed of strawberries and then also dandelions that I harvest in the wintertime. Well, fall, when it gets close to that, when you get your first frost, harvest them. They're super sweet. They're great for dogs, they're great for you, diuretics, so on and so forth. My mullein is going off the hook like crazy. I'm going to have, like, even here, I am going to have so many seeds from this one mullein that I'm probably never going to have to wait for harvesting seeds until the bitter end ever again, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cones, 9 if you count the one that's like hiding down over here, growing. 10, there's another one. This is awesome. If you don't know what mullein is, you might as well like call it the plant mucilex of the plant world. Basically, if your lungs are congested or anything like that, you can either smoke the mullein or you can make a tincture out of it, but it will help your lungs expel whatever I can't say the word, but in it. So it's a really good plant for your lungs. I'm growing it because my husband is a smoker, so it's good for that. All my flowers have finally succumbed to the time of the year. We're almost into August. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. August is just one more month closer to fall. I count it as fall. It is fall. But look at all of the seed heads that I have. And I can just dump them right back into here. And my potatoes, their soil is going to go into here as well to build it up so that I can continue growing flowers all around here and feeding all of this. I am going to say that I am being attacked by the cucamelon or the cucabug or the cucumber beetle or whatever you want to call it, because these are slowly dying off, and I got hit with a hell of a rainstorm yesterday. These should not be dying. There should be no reason for this, like none. But I have so many cucumbers that are starting to grow, but my vines are starting to show distress. Not good. Not good, because these guys need to grow. And oh, I love this stuff. This is opal basil, and yes, it's green, but the varieties differ. You can definitely get opal basil that is green. You can get opal basil that is purple. But I'm wondering what is going on right now with something's happening. I'm not sure what it is, because these were just healthy like a day ago. So it's dramatic. And then also, if we look over here, this is all really going strong. And I have done fridge pickles, bread and butter fridge pickles out of all of this for my husband's birthday. My tomatoes are starting to change, which means yay. And then I planted runners off. We'll see how they do into September. Hopefully they grow, and we'll see how that goes. And amazingly enough, I'm still shocked. I have broccoli growing unprotected, and it's not doing bad at all. Normally, this would have bolted and been twigs a long time ago. If you didn't know, the whole plant is edible, by the way. I mean, some of it is woody, so people don't like to eat that. Sorry, I'm getting attacked by mosquitoes. But yeah, I can't wait till this section is all done, because everything's getting sheared back. I'm mowing, and then I have to put down cardboard and a good layer of some type of mulch. I'm gonna say my onion is ready to pick. I've got to harvest onions. So I've got to get in here and I've got to get the onions because all my onions are starting to die back, which means they're ready. I'm super excited. I've got onions. Oh, I've never grown them before. I tried growing them last year. Things did not go well. Hi, beautiful. That's so pretty. Okay, on to my project. Now that we've done a little garden update. Oh, first step is the wood needed to be removed. I sold the wood to my neighbor for a decent price. This tree is growing hella fast. We figured out what it is. It is a box elder, so that's going. I don't need it spreading anywhere else, but unfortunately we have it growing in cement, so the cement has to be broken. This all has to be, and that's gonna go. More of that stuff. This all has to be cleaned up and taken care of so that it can be drug. My shed can be drugged from there all the way up to here and put on top of cement so that it's higher up. This is where they're going to be accessing my property to put in more rock, which we did sign permission for them to do. I hate these tree of heavens. I'm thankful that they were here because they saved my property from looking like that. So you can see the red line right there. There's the red line. Rock is going to be dumped all into here because the erosion is getting really bad. On my side as well, rock is going to be dumped into here for the erosion, thank goodness. So that literally means like all of this has to change. All of it has to change. All of it needs to be done. It needs to be taken care of. Oh my God, I still have that up here. Okay. Okay. Oh, geez. And that is where our update is headed. Oh, there's my baby girl. There's my Luna Bunas. Hi, sweetie. She's watching me. Mom, where'd you go? And yeah, this is my update, and this is what my project is going to be. I'm going to drag these pallets down so I can line them up and put stuff on them so they're not touching the ground. I have a tunnel cover that I actually bought off of TikTok shop when they were selling all those tunnel covers, and I'm going to put that over top of it to keep stuff from getting wet until this is all moved and this is all cleaned up, which is going to happen rapidly, like within the next week. So side note, I've had a lot of sad news lately, and I know like people don't want to hear sad news, but you know, this is supposed to be a day in the life of what I go through as a housewife who lives on an acre of land, who is also suffering from a chronic disease, a chronic ailment, which is multiple sclerosis. I've had nothing but bad news this week. I told my friends at 85 Nostalgia Street, yo, shout out to my friends, you know, my cartoon buddies over at 85 Nostalgia Street. If you like cartoons and you're into them, go check that page out here on YouTube. Great group of people, fun-loving, absolutely love having these group of friends. I've had them for years, and some are new, some are old, some are blue, some are anyways, I was told that my medication card, which I don't know how to put this, like my medication is super expensive for my MS, super expensive. Hold on. We'll come into the greenhouse to have a conversation because it's a lot better here than it is out there with all the bugs, and I'm just going to keep swatting at things if I stay there. Let's get my chair, make sure there's no bugs, no spiders. Okay, there. So, don't mind me. It's been a rough week, and humidity's like 100%, so my hair never looks good at this point. It's so hard to talk about because this is definitely something that is going to affect me 100%. Okay, so I take a drug called glutamyl acetate, and the glutamyl acetate is $5,000 a month. If you can afford that, you are doing awesome, but I cannot afford $5,000 a month for medication that I inject 3 days a week. I can't do it. I can't do it. So the company that makes the glutamyl acetate and then also makes Copaxone, which is the non-generic brand name, has decided to raise their amount of money that it costs to make and distribute the medication. And it was $7,000 a month. And with my insurance, which is the crappiest insurance that I have ever heard, and I've never even heard of this insurance. They just decided that I should have this insurance. Like, and I told them I didn't want it, and then they were like, oh, but it's, you know, you're gonna want this one. It's a good one. You don't have to meet a deductible. It's zero deductible, and you should do good. It's zero deductible, but when your doctor's visits cost almost $200 for 10 minutes of their time, and they're only covering $50 of that. That's not good for me. That's not conducive. Okay. I live off of a small budget. Me and my husband work hard as a team to do what we need to do to keep a house and keep a roof over our head, to take care of my mom. And now, with even more bad news coming, you know, there's more to take care of. I'm scraping bare bottom so that I can afford the money to move my shed so I don't lose it, because that's an investment that I made over time, and it cost $5,000, and it took me 6 years to pay off, and I'm not ready to lose that yet. That was a lot of work to keep that shed, and I just don't want to see it just disappear like that. But so I to get back to the story, sorry, I'm from Pennsylvania. We do a roundabout, so I'm sorry. But I received a copay card from the company that was covering my copays, which my copays were $1,500. Then they were $1,600. Now they're $1,200, and I still can't afford that. They cut back $2,000 of my copay card because they decided to raise rates. So instead of receiving $9,000 in grants, which would cover me the entire year and would help cover my copays, they decided to cut the $2,000, which would have covered me until my renewal date, which is in October. So I'm looking at August and September with no medication, because I cannot afford $1,300. I think that's where we're at right now, because they raised rates in copays. And I can't even tell you what my insurance is covering right now, because that's a phone call for Monday. This all happened to me Thursday, Friday, and I have been on the phone with every single Good Days. I've been on with the Multiple Sclerosis Society. I've been on the phone with, you know, every group out there that is supposed to help people who are suffering from chronic illness, who have to cover these large bills. I've been on the phone with all of them. So anybody who can suggest it, I've already talked to them. I really honestly have. I've called 9 or 10 different places, and they all have the same thing to say to me, which is, sorry, our multiple sclerosis program is full, or we don't have a program for multiple sclerosis, or we don't have a program for people who are on private insurance. I'm not on private insurance. I receive a dumbed down amount due to Obamacare, or you know whatever you want to call it. But here in Pennsylvania, it's called Penny, and I receive a dumbed down version of that. But I'm still paying an exorbitant amount for insurance, and they tell you that if you're on MA or something on the lines of that, then they can help you. But MA covers all of that, so I don't understand what they're talking about. If you have MA, you don't have to worry about how much you're paying for that, because 9 times out of 10 your copay for your prescriptions is anywhere from $3 to $1. But I don't have that luxury. I don't have that luxury. My husband works very hard, and we do what we can to pay all of our bills. But unfortunately, I have gotten to the point where sorry. I've gotten to the point where I am out of options, and I am looking at losing a medication that has kept me stable with MS, and I've lost, my vision in my right eye, my left eye. I went partial blind. I'm very thankful that they got me on medication, that I was able to get it back. A lot of women don't. A lot of women walk around with sight in one eye, and that's it. You lose your left eye. I've lost my legs. I've lost my arms. This is, I've lost muscle. I've lost fat from injecting. I've suffered with muscle atrophy to, my right side of my legs, which means one side, the muscle literally ate itself, and that's very painful, by the way. And that's what I'm looking at right now. And then, over the week, we received more bad news. Where I used to live in my trailer court, I'm very proud to say that I lived 10 years in a trailer court, and I did a lot of good down there. And I did a lot of cleanups, a lot of good things down there for people that lived in that area. And I fought hard against the government to make sure that laws were, held up, and that the landlords weren't just treating it as a cash cow and never doing anything to the upkeep of the courts. I worked hard for that. So I'm very proud to say that, yeah, I started in a trailer court. But my neighbors who were living there, when we moved, it was always in the understanding that eventually they might have to come stay with us. And we just got the news that my friend has stage 4 lung cancer, and it's metastasized to her leg, and it's metastasized to her back. And they're doing scans to see if it's gone to her brain, and they're giving her a year. So we might be moving them in here. So there'll be 6 people living in my home. And at a time when I know I'm needed the most, I'm looking at going without medication that'll make it possible so that I can help them. Sorry. Okay. So that's my life update. I'm looking at some hard times. I'm looking at some very difficult times, and I feel like it's one thing after another. I am scared to death of rain now, because I'm afraid eventually my property is gonna erode away to nothing, and it's eventually going to breach its banks, sorry. And that we're gonna lose our house like the neighbors up the road did. I'm praying that things get fixed, that doesn't happen. And I know you're going to say, well, what about flood insurance? We can't get flood insurance. There is no such thing as flood insurance, because according to them, we are not in a flood zone. So this is not a floodplain. But we flooded, not once, not twice, but 3 times according to the neighbors. And the 3rd time finally took their house of 25 years. So because it's not often enough, And because nobody else floods around us, it's not a flood zone. So there is no flood insurance for people like me. But I just wanted to catch everybody up who's on my page. This is what's happening. If you can help me get my stuff out there and share it or do whatever, or hit the like button, even comment, so that I can actually start getting stuff out there. Hopefully maybe I can do something with this page other than having a couple of people on the page, because you don't make money that way, and I can't help my husband that way. And I can't help anybody else that way, and I need to figure out a way to make money so that I can afford my medication for the next 2 months. I've been on this medication since 2013. I've been stable since 2013, and I'm looking at losing body parts because somebody decided they wanted to make more money. As if you weren't making enough. As if $7,000, $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 a month per patient wasn't enough. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in.